So their careers could advance by leaps and bounds, but then they find themselves at a level where they're looking around in these rooms full of other powerful people, and they're still feeling like themselves, 20 years ago when they got into their industry, and they're really reckoning with not being in alignment of how they want to present to the world, and finally being in a place where they are ready to just say, I don't know how to do this. I do need some help doing this. I don't understand it at all.
Martians landed.
Yes.
Wearing Prada suits.
Yes.
Drinking Henry Seltzer.
Yes.
Chewing juicy fruit.
Yes, and?
Your branding here.
Yes, brand.
Your message here.
Yes, and?
A verse about.
Yes.
Your product here.
Yes.
I'm Hersh Rephun.
Yes, and?
I'm a message therapist.
Yes.
And I have a podcast.
Yes, brand.
That's right, that's it.
Yes.
We'll help you fix the world.
Yes.
Or your bottom line.
All right.
Your bottom line.
Get it. I get it. Welcome to the Yes Brand Podcast.
We're just enjoying a little bit of silence before I begin this episode. Maybe it's the tension in the room. Maybe it's the excitement. But I don't blame you, listener, for being excited today. My guest today has spent more than 2 decades helping people step more fully into who they are, and more importantly, who they're becoming. Jenni Lee is a celebrity stylist. She's dressed everyone from Greta Gerwig, Chris Pratt, Sebastian Stan, and Rashida Jones to Gloria Estefan and Lauryn Hill. And her works appeared on Rolling Stone, Harper's Bazaar, The Face. She's attended more than 40 seasons of New York Fashion Week, which is 39 more seasons than I've attended, which means, yes, she knows fashion. But what makes her interesting to me has very little to do with trends. Because underneath the celebrity styling, editorial shoots, tours, and red carpets is someone who understands something much deeper. Clothes are never just clothes. They're identity, visibility, confidence, evolution, protection, and sometimes the gap between who you've been and who your life is now asking you to become is part of the equation. And Jenni Lee started in film school and costume design. She learned that wardrobe tells the audience who a character is before they ever speak. And as a one-time actor, I can attest to how important that is. Today, she brings that same lens to ambitious women whose careers, visibility, and lives have evolved faster than their closets have. Her philosophy is more styling, less shopping, meaning less accumulation, less panic buying, less trying to become somebody else through consumption, and more learning how to actually see yourself clearly in the life that you've already been building. And frankly, that feels like a much bigger conversation than fashion, which is why I am so excited to welcome Jenni Lee to the Yes Brand Hot Seat. Welcome, Jenni.
Wow, thank you for that incredible intro. I'm so excited to be here and talk about how style really impacts a personal brand.
Yeah, it's a unique conversation, and I as I told you before we started recording, I'm just very excited to have you here because to me there is, if I look back at everything I know about fashion and I worked in sneaker marketing and a little bit in apparel. I have from the creative direction point of view some some experience with that, but I just think as a human being, when we think about what fashion means versus identity, what people think style is versus what it actually becomes during transformation, could you talk a little bit about that, fashion versus identity?
Well, fashion is just an overall catch-all for clothes, really. Something can be in fashion, it can be out of fashion. This can be a designer's collection that they're fashioning it a certain way. So, identity is the individual or a brand or a company, and what the signifiers that you create for yourself or a company or a brand that the audience, that the consumers can recognize easily and either connect with or repel from, whether they
Yeah.
want to buy into you or not.
Yeah. I mean, in your own journey, at what point did you realize that your work was not really about clothes anymore?
I think almost immediately when I started working in the wardrobe department on those films, that was just immediately when I learned clothes are just another part of the language of the film, the movie, the script, and it's just an added layer. And it's just storytelling, like from those earliest interning moments and understanding how we dress this particular actor to transform them from their personality to the personality of the character, watching them in those earliest fittings when I was just like a lowly intern tying laces, but really seeing this human change into a different human before my very eyes just because we put the right outfit on. It was
Yeah.
just such a lesson to learn.
Yeah. And go diving a little deeper into that idea, you now work with women who often look successful externally. That's a big part of the story that they're telling. How often do you find that visibility and self-recognition are actually out of sync?
So often because many women a lot of it depends on the industry that they're in, but there are many women, especially in academics or even medical industries, where they were never really encouraged to be creative and experiment with their personal style growing up. So it was a muscle that never got developed. So their careers could advance by leaps and bounds, but then they find themselves at a level where they're looking around in these rooms full of other powerful people and they're still feeling like themselves 20 years ago when they got into their industry, and they're really reckoning with not being in alignment of how they want to present to the world, and finally being in a place where they are ready to just say, I don't know how to do this. I do need some help doing this. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of emotions that it's funny because now that I think about it this way, all of these emotions that are tied to clothing, just period, like in walking out in the street, going out in the world, what we think of ourselves, what we have to present to other people. Um, and when people hear, oh, she styles for all these famous people, you think of performance, you think of stage, you think they're going to be styled for a concert or for a character in a movie or something that's not really 100% them. Um, but in some ways, for you, it's not about performance necessarily. It's about alignment, right? What
Yeah.
changed? What changed in you to make that shift possible?
Well, at first, before thinking about me and I'm thinking about them, each individual is kind of like a diamond, and you have all these facets, but sometimes the diamond is, you see the flat side, you don't see all those facets on the other side. But if you flip the diamond to where the pointy side is up, you have so many more facets, and I'm just polishing those facets for the individual so they just shine brighter and more holy and full. For me, the switch from doing behind the scenes work and almost exclusively styling individuals that were presenting a more forward facing persona of themselves, whether it was editorial or on stage. Um, I think just connecting with the artists and understanding who they are at their core and helping them shine the edge that the light is going to be beaming on, whether that is a stage light or paparazzi photos. And now I just kind of take that to regular working women and help them understand that and dress them according to whatever that scene is in their life.
Yeah, there's that phrase, uh, the clothes don't make the person. Um, and there's something to be said for the experience that certain women may have in business where their visibility heightens before they've actually connected to themselves in a certain way. So they may they may be stepping into a role, or their role may evolve before their eyes, where they they haven't even had a chance to catch their breath. Have you seen that happen?
That's very, very common. Many of my clients come to me in that moment where their closets need to catch up to where they are in their success and or their business. Because they go to their closet day after day and they're like, the frustration is so overwhelming because sure, they have clothes to wear, to put on, to go outside, but they know that they're not dressing how they want to be perceived, how lots of people do perceive them, but they know they're just not kind of dressing to their potential.
Well, something also happened in the last few years, with COVID. People were, there was the
Mm-hmm.
Zoom kind of whatever the rules of fashion were for Zoom, and it's a reasonable thing. We got casual about how we presented ourselves because that's what life was presenting us. We were not going out into the world as much. Now, fortunately, we are out in the world, but is there an etiquette to how we present ourselves online versus how we present ourselves in person?
Well, that was one of the big things when I really started personal styling. It was in the height of COVID because I was speaking to so many women who were just at a loss. Like we were suddenly given this opportunity to not get dressed up, but at the same time, you still had to go to work every day. It was just we're going to this tiny little box on the screen. So it was a lot of like on the bottom half, I'm wearing sweats. On the top, I have a button down shirt, which doesn't really help the mindset of work. You no matter where you're going, whether it's virtually on camera or out in the world, you really do have to dress for the scene, the environment your body is going to be in, and then who's looking at you and what you want that audience to think about you. And sometimes you have to control that too with your clothes so that you can perform the scene properly to the best advantage for you and the watcher, the experiencer of you.
Yeah. Yeah. I also was thinking about technology in the sense of, what pressure, if any, has AI and algorithmic culture kind of exerted on women in particular in terms of possibly safer or more performative versions of themselves, both in real life and online.
I mean, to me, the worst thing that the algorithm has done for women, and also just the whole social media filteredness of it all, is this idea that we are all looking the same and filtering ourselves to look the same, which is more of a cartoon version of being a woman. That's a little bit terrifying to think about. As far as AI goes and clothes and styling and fashion, for me, the real horror comes from the idea of an industry that's already collapsing, which is fashion and magazines and editorial and all the creative people that are behind making these
Hmm.
images for people. Um, that is kind of jobs are being eliminated just by the use of AI models instead of actually hiring models, photographer, makeup artist, stylist, creative director. All of those jobs are winnowing down. I don't believe that the virtual AI stylists that are coming up are ever going to replace a real human stylist, because they will never understand what it really means to exist in a body and the way your body changes and messes with you all day long, especially with women and hormones and sometimes even the various lunches that you eat. It can really, really wreak havoc on an individual. So understanding what clothes really feel like on a body is something that AI is never going to understand. They're never going to understand your allergy to Angora.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another thing is that we were just before the advent of AI, we were still kind of limping toward some kind of reasonable self-image standard, of reality in advertising, in what kind of images we're putting forth to girls and young women and boys too, and like just anybody, like what we were presenting as real. And that was before everything started, leaning toward being simulated. So you
Mm-hmm.
had, touching up of photos and a little bit of pushback on, okay, I'm going to do this photo shoot with no makeup, or I'm going to do that. We're not going to touch these photos up. So we're not giving people, but now even the entire model can be simulated. The person may not exist at all, and we don't have our bearings even as a society as to what is healthy.
Yeah, let's
It
not get
seems.
into the whole looks maxing thing.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh my.
for the young male population right now, that's another kind of really dark and dystopian
Yeah.
situation that's happening.
Yeah. Um, the comedian Lewis Black, I was I was listening to, I don't even know what it was. It was something on YouTube that was still playing on my phone when I got in the car. So I wasn't, it just went to the Bluetooth and I'm listening to it, and he was saying something about that guy clavicular and the thing with the he goes, well, now modern technology has done something that no one's been able to do before, which is to create a completely unfuckable person. And he said, because what you're doing is you're creating something so obnoxious and obscene that it lacks all appeal. And it was kind of a funny take, but the fact is, it is like there is a whole segment of society that's getting away from reality,
Mm-hmm.
which brings us back to that question of what are we really trying to accomplish in our style. um because this is where you're coming from kind of factors into the conversation and is so interesting. Share a little bit about your background. We talked a little bit about it. I believe we're both from Florida.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up mostly in South Florida on the beach, and my I would say I really learned how to make a look with my grandmother. She was this very feisty little British woman, and she loved going to the thrift stores. And that would be our dates that we would have weekly. We would go to the thrift store, and she really taught me how to search for designer clothes. This was before fast fashion, before thrift stores were flooded with, the Banana Republic of it all. This was when you could go to a thrift store and find a Christian Dior top for $2.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a big fashion magazine reader. I was much more of a music magazine reader, so those were all the pictures that I put up on my walls. But my Nana Kitty is the one who pointed out what designer brands were. And I really remember her like showing me, this is Versace, this is Christian Dior. Oh, look, this is uh, Givenchy. She would like uncover these things, and then she would sit there and like make me look at the tags and see like the fabric content and why this makes something special, and look at how many buttons and hooks there are, and look at the seams on this. And we would just spend hours doing that, and then we would go to her house, and then she would be so excited about whatever scores she found, and then she would make these outfits and she would hang them up on the outside of her closet. And I was like, are you going somewhere? And she was like, no, but when I get an invitation, I am ready.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
So that was
That's
kind of just like the development of style as expression. She used it as a way to have conversations with people. She explained to me that, when you give people a reason to talk to you, you're giving them a gift. The gift of
yeah.
conversation, the gift of connection, and how clothes can help you do all of these things.
Yeah, and that's interesting because when I think of what you're doing, I think of it being the difference between style as appearance and style as self-recognition, you know,
Yeah.
which completely turns the table on the idea that dressing is for someone else. How do you um, how do you approach that concept? We're dressing to understand ourselves. We're also dressing to complete ourselves. We're also dressing because of what the reaction on the other end will be. Where does all that factor in?
Well, I made a little framework. I didn't really realize I had one until I started working with personal clients. And I had sort of a checklist I like to go through with them. And then I made a little acronym framework, and it's called the Spark framework. And the first one is self reflection. So when you're getting dressed, think about yourself. How do you want to feel today? What mood are you in? How are you connecting to yourself? And then the second letter is P, the practicality of it all. Is it raining? Is it hot? Is it cold? Are you taking a train? Are you driving? Are you walking? What kind of shoes do you need? Are you standing? Are you sitting? All of that. And then A is authentic alignment, because one of the things when you start styling with someone is you get swept up in the frenzy of the clothes, just like when you go shopping. So you really want to make sure that whatever you put on feels like you, doesn't feel like you're cosplaying. It really feels like you. I always encourage people not to wear something new to a big thing. Like wear maybe one piece is new, but like the pants, the shoes, so you really feel this is me. I'm not dressing up. I'm dressing like me. And then R is the recognition, just acknowledging like you want a response from people. If you're getting
Yeah.
in front of people, you want them to understand you somehow, whatever that is. Whether that's you want to be in a position of power, whether you want to make people feel welcome, you're hosting a party, whatever it is, the recognition is important. And people like to kind of, oh, I don't dress for vanity, or I don't dress for other people. It doesn't matter. You're going out in the world, people are going to see you. And
Yeah.
then K of the Spark is kindness. And that is it's twofold. It's making sure you're not wearing things that cause you pain or discomfort, being kind to yourself. If you need to wear things that remind you of a loved one, put on that vintage t-shirt, whatever it is, show yourself kindness in your clothes. And then the flip side of the K is to know that your clothes do affect other people. And how nice is it to wear something that someone has to say, I love your jacket, I love your shoes. People love to give compliments. Anytime you received a compliment, yes, you're getting something special. It feels good to get compliments, but you're really giving a gift that you wowed somebody enough that they had to say something. And then they feel good because they just gave you a compliment.
Yeah, and that's a thing that I think is lost in a lot of the way we conceive of fashion and style is that it's a win-win for us to look good and for someone to appreciate us. That's a
Yeah.
win for both people. That's not we're making the other person feel less or look bad. It's a win-win, and certainly fashion can be that same as self-expression. It's interesting that you mentioned the uh if you're going to some big event, don't wear an entirely new ensemble. It's like I do that where, I'll wear a new shirt, let's say with a favorite blazer or something like that. And there's something special about it because if you've worn the jacket before, let's say, and now all of a sudden it looks completely different with this shirt, you know, that's a cool idea. You have this older shirt that you've worn a million times, and you put this new sport coat over it. All of a sudden, now it looks like a totally different outfit. When I when I was like, I don't know, I guess I was probably 12 or 13, and the reversible uh vests, the three-piece suits, and I guess they had, I mean, they had to be like polyester suits, but they had these reversible vests,
Right,
and
right.
I loved it because I thought, oh my God, it's like, because also as a kid who liked to dress up and be like acting and doing, but the whole idea of it, people should we should bring more of those
Reversible
back.
items. Yeah, the two for
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And then I graduated into the wanting the Pierre Cardin suits because that was what my friends who were like, wealthy or whatever had. This one friend, all his suits were Pierre Cardin, and I was like, "Oh my God, I have to have a Pierre Cardin suit." And it's just, but they don't do reversible. Uh you know and but there's so much fun that can be had with this topic, but at the same time, circling now to where you're at, what you're working on. What is it that lights you up about working with a certain client?
I mean, I love clothes. I love making looks and I like blowing people's minds. And like my favorite part is I just had a session a few days ago with someone on Zoom and I I just love like as I'm pulling these things out of their closet that I've never seen before and then I'm like the visions are like just swimming in my head of like outfit combinations because I have a photographic memory. So when I look at all the runways and I've all the editorials I've ever looked at, or all the movies and music videos and all the things, I just kind of like see clothes whizzing by. So I'm like, do you have a sheer long sleeve t-shirt in black? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, anything sheer, find it. Like she's digging and she finds something. I'm like, yes, put that underneath. Now put that big skirt on. Now put the shoes on. Like, and then her doing the whole look and being like, oh my God, I can't believe I've had these for so long. I've never worn this way. I've never thought of putting these things together. So to me, that's just the discovery and the like shared creativity is just the most thrilling part of it. And then knowing like they're going to get more bang for their buck out of their already existing wardrobe and like watching them look at themselves and like seeing their like posture change and their face change and just leaving a client feeling better about themselves.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. It's as powerful as it was doing shoots with celebrities and then we all rush to the monitor to look at the images and then being like, oh my God, wow, that's me.
Yeah. And it's funny because, typically on the show, I'll get into this section about the brand that the guest is building. But interestingly, in this case, I feel like we've been talking about that without, putting too fine a point on it. But we really have been distinguishing what you do from what other people in the field do and other kinds of stylists. So it's been very obvious. But if I were going to ask a question, I would say, what is something that you wish more people knew about you before meeting you or before coming to work with you?
That I'm not intimidating.
Huh? Oh, okay.
I think that a lot of people hear the word fashion stylist or celebrity stylist, and immediately they're like, oh, I could never have that. Oh, that's not for me. Or, oh, she's going to judge me. I think that's probably the scariest thought is, um, we're all judging everybody all the time. Like, I'm not the only
Yeah.
one out here
Yeah.
judging. But I want to know what's kind of underneath the clothes more. I want to know what's in your mind more than like how you dress. And I just want to make it come out. I want you to be able to show what you really want to show. And because of my skill set, I can help you do that. It's to me, it's kind of just that cut and dry, that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is simple actually in the way that we've been talking about it, but I wonder if in the industry itself is there resistance to the self-recognition kind of more almost life coachy or human thing versus the client's going to say what they want to look like or what they like and what they don't like, and I'm going to find what looks good on them and it's going to be my expertise and their comfort level, and it's just going to be like that's what a lot of people would think of it as.
Mm.
Is there something in terms of the industry uh, that creates any kind of friction there?
I mean, in like celebrity and professional fashion styling, I would say, and most like actors tend to be, they're just really open. They don't have a lot of pushback because they themselves don't have a lot of personal style. Less and less celebrities, in my opinion, ever really have personal style. That's usually stylists help them. Musicians have a lot of personal style, and there's always friction and resistance at first. They have to trust you that you get them and will help them go in the direction they want to go in. You're really just helping them. And then as far as regular working people go, the biggest friction is them just even considering that I could help them. Like, most of them don't have any problem with the consideration of getting their hair colored or cut, or maybe seeing a facialist, getting a trainer or a nutritionalist. But the consideration to have a stylist help them is almost, it doesn't even register, or it feels so far out of what they could experience. And that's my biggest friction, is just letting them know, like, this is accessible to you, you deserve this, and it can help you.
Yeah, that makes sense because when there's that a someone who's a performer or an actor, actress, singer, musician, um, they're obviously they're putting themselves in front of a one-to-many situation. It's not about what they look like in meetings. It's what they're looking like on a magazine or in a movie or on a stage. And for someone who's not elevated or put up on that pedestal, then to think, oh, I'm going to work with somebody uh, to help my fashion kind of reflect. It does feel like there's a little bit of a leap that people have to make uh, to justify it, or
Yeah.
and that's why what you do so uniquely is really by nature, I think, makes those people feel more comfortable because that is the essence of it. Oh, it's not just superficial. It's not just the way the lighting looks in this one moment, and they take the picture, and all of a sudden it's going to look like that, and it's never going to look like that again. You know, this is real life that they're living, and so I think it's a really layered and fascinating area to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I love it so much.
Clearly,
Kind of embarrassing.
Well, tell before we wrap, tell the audience where they can find you, and then share a little bit of advice for someone who's maybe never felt great in their clothes.
Well, everyone can find me at Jenni Lee stylist.consulting, and it's Jenny with an I. You can always find me on Instagram at Jenni Lee Stylist. And if you, and maybe this goes hand in hand with the other part of the question, is I have a style quiz. So Jenni Lee stylist.consulting/quiz, or you find it on Instagram. And there are 20 different quiz results. So there's your kind of personal archetype and then your fashion archetype merged together, and you take the quiz and you find that out. And that can kind of help you maybe understand why you choose what you already choose, and help you. The results come with like tons of style icons and shopping suggestions, journaling prompts. I give you a Spotify playlist so you can make a date with yourself and have I call it we call it fitting. So give yourself a fitting with what you have in your closet. Help start taking out the things that don't work for you. And then, reach out for help if you need it. But if you really have always been struggling with clothes, then I always like to say, give yourself a little challenge, and that is to go to the most expensive department store in your area. Do not bring any credit cards. Don't go planning to buy something. Wear an outfit that's easy to take on and off. Wear all black. Wear big sunglasses. Go in there, and I want you to try on things that you think, I would never dare to wear that. And I don't want you to try on like gowns to go to like a big fancy event. I want you to try on things that you could think of where you could wear this. So a business meeting or a networking thing or everyday life, but an elevated version of it. So I want it to fit into the scenes of your life, but I want you to go for that designer or brand that is somewhat out of touch, out of reach. Even colors you wouldn't naturally be drawn to, prints you wouldn't be naturally drawn to, just so you can feel what these things feel like and look at yourself in the mirror and like explore these different facets and personas in a really like safe, no pressure way. So it does like take a little bit of strength, because sales associates can be scary, but just tell them like, oh, I have a thing I'm planning for. And then if they start like pressuring you or like wanting to get you more things, don't just do it all on your own. Try to not have them do a lot of work for you, because then you feel obligated. And then you can do something like, can you hold this for me for a few hours? I just realized I left my wallet in the car. You don't ever have to go back. But anything you do, like make notes, take a picture of it, take a picture of the tag on the clothes. So you start recognizing, and you can say like, oh, wow, the Loewe brand jeans really work for me. And the Proenza Schuler ones are terrible. Like you'll start to differentiate between what is possibly working for you or not working for you.
I love that. And I love the fact that it is, it doesn't necessarily sound like it, but it's pretty daring. It's the kind of thing that a lot of us wouldn't do, because we would say, well, what's the point? I'm not going to go. Then I'm going to feel bad that I couldn't buy this thing that was way beyond my means or whatever. But at the same time, we deserve to see ourselves in our best light, in whatever that, is, even if it's, kind of a Cinderella experience.
Yeah.
It's like, that's okay too, because you don't unsee that. You have that vision. And what I've experienced is, even if it's for a short time and you get dressed up or whatever it is, it stays with you. You feel like that, you feel like you've elevated yourself in some ways,
You're collecting data.
Yeah.
You can use that information, and then you can go and shop secondhand from these brands and designers that you learn about. You don't have that information unless you do some research. So the clothes are in the store. No one's going to the stores. Go try on the clothes. you're not stealing the clothes, you're not robbing
Yeah.
anybody, you're just trying them on and hang them back up on the hangers if you feel that guilty about it. Don't leave a pile of clothes on the floor.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect the people working, but at the same time, it's fair for you to want to go on and try on the clothes. That is
Yeah.
a-okay.
Yeah, and when you go thrifting, let's say, you might be more amenable to trying things on that you wouldn't have tried on before because
Mm-hmm.
you've been a little bit more adventurous.
Yeah, and
Um,
you might be able to clock a treasure that might be overlooked.
yes, exactly. Well, Jenni Lee, thank you so much for being with us on Yes Brand. I appreciate it. I'm excited to stay in touch and follow your evolution because I love the direction you're going.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Alright.
If you liked the show,
Yes, and?
it worked for you,
Yes, then?
subscribe and leave a
Yes, friend.
5-star review.
Yes, friend.
Tell all your friends.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Did I make it clear?
Yes, friend.
Get your branding on
Yes.
before they're gone.
Yeah.